hot day like this at the end of the weekend, this is a really good turnout. And so just a thank you in advance for being here. This is something I think that just is going to help take Ridgefield baseball to another level. You know, we had a great banquet the other night, coming off of great seasons at all the levels. There's just a lot of buzz about Ridgefield baseball, and I love baseball. It's seen, you know, a lot of success and a lot of talent in the town, and you know, I always talk to, whenever I'm coaching or talking to kids about baseball, sometimes I'll put it together like it's almost like a pie, and there's a lot of different pieces of that pie that can make a great baseball player. And it's not just one piece. It's not being able to throw a ball 85, 90 miles an hour. It's not being able to hit a ball 400 feet or run a 60 in 6.3 seconds or whatever. There's a lot of different aspects of the game of baseball. This is a hard game, and you need to take advantage of all the different facets of the game to build that piece of pie and that full pie that makes you as good as you possibly can be. That may make you the person that's on the fringe of making a team to easily making a team, to being a backup, to being a starter, to being just an average starter, to an all-conference player, to being an all-conference player, to having the opportunity to play in college. I mean, taking advantage of some of the additional opportunities with baseball will help take you to a new level. And I think what you'll see too is it's not just, hey, I have to play baseball 12 months a year to accomplish all this. What we're going to talk about tonight with strength and conditioning, it can be tailored and will be tailored based off of your investment into baseball and into athletics in general. You know, some of you are multi-sport kids, some of you are just baseball kids, and strength and conditioning and some of these programs can be tailored and kind of it's almost like ordering off a menu, and you can pick and choose what fits your commitment level best so that you're doing as much as you can to make yourself a better player. So we even have Colin Lowe here tonight. For those of you that have followed Colin through the baseball program, he's spent a year at a Division I baseball program. He's lived what goes on beyond playing in high school, playing on the travel baseball circuit and all that. He can tell you what it's like going from the levels you guys are playing at right now, because he just did that a year, 2 years removed from it, to what it's like at a real Division I baseball program that's aspiring to be in Omaha. So I think tonight we won't try to spend too much of the rest of your night, but I think you'll find that this will be a worthwhile minutes of your time. So I'll pass it off to Paul to get it moving.
Thanks. For everybody who doesn't know, I know we have some parents of some younger players. That was Tom Price. He's the outgoing Booster Club president.
That's right.
And the parent of, in addition to this guy right here, Colin Lowe, Alex Price, I would say two of the best players. You know, I've lived in town since 2005. I can remember wearing the uniform, and the success that the team had in the field was due in large part to these guys. One of the reasons I wanted CeeLo to be here tonight, and I'm super happy that he is here. There's Pete McLean over there in the Tiger Power Strength and Conditioning shirt. Pete said to me about a year ago, you know, if you want to start getting some baseball players using the strength conditioning program, using the facility at Tiger Hollow, you need to have some examples and some leaders at each level. And CeeLo is an example of a guy who lifted, I think, largely because you played football, right? Football is what brought you in the weight room and got you going with this guy. And before I even knew Pete, didn't really know who it was, I thought Pete was like a football rugby guy. And then I met him, and then I found out he is a disciple of the same sort of stuff that's going on at the high levels of baseball strength and conditioning now. And Pete identified Colin Lowe as a kid who, because he was a football player and lifted like a football player, saw it translate onto the diamond in the form of probably more miles an hour on your fastball. I have no doubt about it because I've seen it happen. So without putting Colin and Pete too much on the spot tonight, I want to take maybe 10 minutes of time and just kind of make an appeal to the guys who are sitting in the stands. We got a lot of younger players up in the back. I'm looking at guys who probably just finished their freshman year, right? We got any guys from like the younger program who are not yet in high school? I had asked Mr. Rapp to send some of those guys over. That's fine. And then we got a bunch of juniors and sophomores coming off the field with Mr. Bridie's team. So this is a good start. I thought if we could reach and out of this group convince 5 or 10 of you guys who otherwise wouldn't consider strength and conditioning for baseball to think about getting started in there, that's great. Because here's what I see. I see a team that after CeeLo graduated last year, and Thrasher, who's another guy, John Thrasher, I reached out to him and asked him to be here, and he sends his apologies, but I actually reached John when he was in the weight room on Thursday, and John sent a little note. Last year, graduate Colin Lowe, graduate John Thrasher. This year, I'm not sure what anybody expected, but then we had, DeLuca step up as a sophomore. He's throw a no-hitter and 2 one-hitters. Price was Price. We knew what he was going to be. As I said in my email, we're in the middle of a little bit of a golden era in high school baseball here in town. I see some arms coming up. I hear about Barrientos. I hear about Borer. I hear about some other nice arms we got in the program. To me, and I've had a chance to watch high school baseball now for the last couple of years with my son Matthew on the team, it's obvious to me that where high school games are won and lost, it's a small ball game. All right, if you got pitchers with good fastballs who can miss bats, we're in a scoreless tie against Cheshire in the state big school championship game, and leadoff guy got on, and now we're looking at a bunt situation. If we can produce more pitchers in this town who, instead of sitting low 80s, maybe touching mid 80s with their fastball by the time they're seniors, are sitting high 80s, maybe touching 90, I don't think there's any reason why this town shouldn't turn out on a yearly basis 1 or 2 guys who can touch 90 with their fastball. All right, so the question is, how do we do it? We got some nice arms here. Baseball players in the town of Ridgefield, for whatever reason, have not used the resources that we have at our disposal at Tiger Hollow as much as some other sports. And there are probably a few reasons why. I think baseball tends to butt up against some old biases, some old teaches about not getting too big, too bulky, lifting weights, especially for pitchers. Oh my gosh, pitchers shouldn't lift. We know now more than we ever have what the current state of the industry is, the science behind baseball strength and conditioning. Tom was nice enough before the season started. I had gone up to this place in Hudson, Massachusetts called Cressy Sports Performance, just because I had read about them and I had heard that they were leading the way. And they're nice enough. Anybody can go up there. You just spend $10. They donate to a local charity. I did that a few years ago, and then the Booster Club was nice enough to send me up there for a day in March. It was aimed primarily at some few of our guys who had spent some time in the weight room and built up a nice base in the off season. What were they going to do now that the baseball season was starting? Because if there's one thing you can't do or you shouldn't do, it's spend all this time lifting in the off season, and then the baseball season starts and you say, well, I'm too busy, I got baseball. There's a smart way to do it. Under Pete McLean's guidance, Pete will construct the program for any player to, as they say up at Cressy, put as much water behind the dam in the off season as you possibly can. Then once your season starts, it becomes a matter of keeping as much water behind the dam and not letting all your strength gains leak out during the course of your season. There's ways to do it. Pete, for anybody who has the good sense to sign up with Pete, start working with him, will put you through certain movements in the off season that you're probably not going to see during the season, especially if you're a pitcher, because you cannot afford to be nailing your legs, doing single leg, rear leg elevated Bulgarian split squats when you got to pitch in 2 days, right? So what I do is I go up to Cressy, I do all the reading. Pete and I meet once in a while. We exchange information. He's tremendously open-minded about it. He's tremendously gifted in the way he teaches it. That environment in Tiger Hollow is the real deal, okay? So I would just encourage as many of you guys as possible who have not hit the weight room yet. Just because you're a baseball player and you don't play football or you don't play another sport, get down there. Now, when is the time to do it? Time to do it is now. Time for anybody who's thinking about doing this is now. I know you guys are all busy with your summer baseball seasons, but Pete's going to stand up here in about 5 or 10 minutes and walk you through the schedule, walk you through how often he's going to be there, what the cost is for the summer. And I would highly encourage anybody who's thinking about doing it to get in there as soon as possible. All right? When school starts, if you are playing a fall sport, the Barrientos, playing football?
No.
Playing soccer?
Yeah.
You're going to start playing soccer in September. Now, what we want Luke to do is we want him to start hitting the weights now. Okay? Because you're not playing baseball this summer, right?
No.
Okay. You might have some trouble picking up some stuff, but Pete will hook you up and get you all squared away. Then when fall starts, Barrientos has got to ask himself a question. Like, soccer is going to probably, if he didn't do anything else, it's probably going to result in him losing weight. If who's playing basketball here? Who's planning on playing basketball? Johnny, Boris, Barrientos. You guys are going to be fighting a losing battle to keep your body weight up during the fall and the winter. Two sports that got a lot of running. What we would like to see multi-sport athletes do is get in with Pete now, build up a base of things like doing deadlifting and squatting, and then find some time during your soccer season and your basketball season to get in there and hit those two main lifts once a week. Try to carve it out. Try to talk to your basketball coach, talk to your parents, talk to your soccer coach. Hey, can I get into the weight room? Is Pete going to be there? Do I got a half an hour overlap with my soccer practice, with my basketball practice? You playing basketball?
Yeah.
Next year? Matt DeLuca, 6'3", 165 pounds. How hard do you throw?
85.
85. Where do you want to be when you're a senior?
More than 90.
More than 90. Matt DeLuca can and should get there. But between now and when he's a senior in high school, he needs 25 to 30 pounds of lean muscle. And Matt, you're going to have a little bit of an uphill battle doing that while you're playing basketball. But if you start now and you carve out some time during basketball season to hit those lifts, then we can talk about some nutrition. We're not going to do it tonight, but nutrition is a big piece of the puzzle. If you're talking about wanting to throw 90 by the time you're a senior, Barrientos, Bor, if you're up there, you know, the saying right now is that mass, body mass, muscle mass equals gas. All right, and there's whether you're hitting or whether you're going to swing a bat. And I'm going to do this from a right-hand thrower and a right-handed hitter's perspective. If you're a lefty, we just switch things up. It starts with being able to generate ground force with your back foot, specifically inside of your back foot. And we know how to train for it. You know how to train for it. Pete will train you guys and educate you in the deadlift, all the deadlift variations, and all the one-legged deadlift variations. And once you start doing this stuff, and if you're a pitcher and you see how it feels once you lift and go to put that force into the ground, or if you're a hitter and you feel it back here before you start to go forward, it's powerful stuff. And by the same token, you have to have that same strength in your front foot to receive the force, whether you're a pitcher, you're coming over a strong front side, or you're swinging over a strong front side. It's all going to equate with bat speed, hand speed, and arm speed. All right? You know, that's where I see the program in the next year, 2, 3, taking the step from a team that's become a power in the FCAC, winning FCAC regular season titles, getting #1 seeds, going to state semifinals, going to state finals. My son's comment after the team lost in the state final was, you know, I can't believe that that's the last time I'll ever see Pete Columbia play baseball again, you know. Pete Columbia is a great example of somebody who didn't necessarily run through Pete McLean's program at Tiger Hollow. He did it over at Results Personal Training. So if you're a guy who doesn't necessarily think they're going to love the environment at Tiger Hollow, like it's noisy, it's busy, it doesn't work with your schedule, you can do it. You can do it on the side. Thrasher had a lifting platform in the basement of his house. CeeLo, did you lift over there with him? Ever with Thrasher?
Okay.
If you know what you're doing and you're motivated and you got a training partner, you don't have to do it at Tiger Hollow. All right, consider me a resource, consider Pete McLean a resource. We can teach you up, coach you up, make sure you're doing the right things. But that's where I see the difference between The successes we've had in our program the last 2 years are where we want to go in the next 2 or 3 years. If we could put a team of guys out there who are driving the baseball a little bit more, all right, maybe not making the coaches down in the box have to think about bunting when they get a leadoff guy on in the 7th inning. Maybe you're not bunting all the time. Maybe if we got more guys throwing mid to upper 80s, low 90s. Those pitchers are hard to bunt, right? DeLuca, if you see a guy running his hands up and you're good enough to make an adjustment to go up in the zone with your fastball, right? You can do it on the fly. If you got a 4-seam grip in your hand, you're going to reach back for a few extra. All of a sudden, it's hard to bunt an 88, 89, 90 mile-an-hour fastball that's coming up on you when you go square around. Those are the differences, and that's where high school baseball games are won and lost. In my opinion, haven't watched it the last 2 years. So, the time is now. Get yourselves in there. I would like CeeLo to stand up. I told him I was going to put him on the spot and just in like 90 seconds or less talk to us, talk to these guys about what you did and how it helped you. Then 10 or 15 minutes for Pete McLean on schedule, and I want to ask Pete to talk about a little bit more about the mechanics of the lifts and how they help baseball players. Then we'll take a few questions and be done for the night. Good? Good. CeeLo.
Everything you said was true. Coming off of my first year, in the off season we lifted 4 days a week, average. Even in season, it was the 2 to 3 days depending on travel. So I wish I did more. I remember in the off season, I would go into Pete's and there'd only be like 2 other baseball kids. There's no really team atmosphere. I wish that like the whole baseball team would go there. I think it builds a lot being in the weight room in the off season with your buddies. So I recommend just getting with Pete, get in the weight room, put some weight on, get stronger. It's going to help you guys. I always thought that was our downfall because none of our baseball players wanted to lift and didn't really want to put in the work. They just wanted to go on the field. And it's kind of hard being those staples teams every year. It's like, I think it's going to help us.
Thanks, Z.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to talk?
Pete?
Hi, how you guys doing? My name's Pete McLean. I'm the director of the strength and conditioning program at the high school. A lot of these guys know me. How many guys have been training with me in the past? Hands up. No. I'm going to hands up. Yeah, so Luke has been there. Johnny's been there. All right, so you guys kind of have a sense of what we're doing. We developed our strength and conditioning program kind of over about the last 17 years, and it's grown exponentially over the last 5 years. We have a very, very broad base of athletic programs using the facility right now. Obviously, it started as a football facility because I'm a football coach and we knew we needed to do this for us to be competitive. And obviously, it has been pretty successful. But the basketball and hockey programs jumped into the program fairly early. Recently, we've really begun to build up our female programs. So we have girls cheer team, girls soccer team, girls lacrosse team. We're all training with us presently, and we have basketball trained using our programming, but being managed by Coach Mack in the mornings. So we're giving you guys the opportunity to come and play with us. As Paul said, that there are different things that you can do as a baseball player to get better. But an interesting statistic that I recently saw in a study that was done at one of the major universities, big baseball program down in Texas, said that if you increase the amount of time that you practice your sport by 30% with drills and such, you can improve your performance by 3 to 5%. If you increase the time that you spend in the weight room by 10%, you can increase your performance in that sport by 30%. Because being stronger is always being better. And there's no way to get around the fact that if you're not strong, you cannot be effective as a sport athlete. If you can't move your body weight through space, if you can't produce force on the ground, then you're sunk. So the easiest way to facilitate that is by putting weight, somehow external resistance on your body and moving it. And that's the way the body really responds to the exercise. Baseball has a very interesting culture that has been kind of fostered through centuries, that weightlifting will make you slower, shorter, weaker, you can't hit the ball, you're too muscle bound, all these things kind of come into play. And a lot of the guys that you've learned your baseball from heard that from their coaches, who heard that from their coaches, who heard that from their coaches in 1905. Right? And that really doesn't work anymore. The game has changed. The whole kind of atmosphere of athletic performance has changed significantly. There's a lot of really smart guys doing it today. And when we see the research and we see the studies that are done, this is really the one thing that will help improve your performance. So that being said, the weight room is open all summer. We're open from 4 p.m. till about 7:30 every day, Monday through Friday, and we're open up Saturday mornings. You guys are have the opportunity to come in. Typically, what we look for the men's sports besides football are Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. If you guys come in at that time, we have a staff there to help you guys out, put your workouts together. How many freshmen or rising freshmen do we have? Any rising freshmen? Any brand new guys who have never stepped foot in the weight room before? Raise your hand super high. Don't be embarrassed, it's okay. We like you guys. All right? So what I would say for you guys to do, you guys could come in at the earlier hour so you get a little bit more precise instruction in the different exercises. Guys who have been in the weight room significantly, they come in, they look on the whiteboard, the workout is already set, they just go to work. But with the younger guys, there is some training and some teaching that needs to be done so that we can assure that you're doing everything correctly. There is no exercise in the weight room that's bad. There's no exercise in the weight room that will hurt you. There's no exercise in the weight room that is going to injure your shoulder, your pitching technique, or your ability to play the game. If you get stronger, you'll get better. That I guarantee. So we're giving you guys the opportunity. The fee for the program is $125 for the entire summer. So we get you guys for a good length of time, and that'll take us all the way out till the beginning of school in the, I don't know, whenever it starts. First week of August, whatever it is. So that's kind of how that works. It's a really good opportunity for you guys to take advantage of a program that is really, really well developed. The coaching is excellent, and the atmosphere of what we do is really cool. You know, Colin was a football first guy in my mind, because that's where I coached him, right? But he took all what he did as a football player and was able to translate that into baseball. Were you even playing baseball as a freshman? Yeah. No, I didn't even know. I knew he was a really good football player. But anyways, so we want to take the knowledge and the expertise that we have and give it to you guys. And keep in mind that this is something you'll be able to use for your whole life. So that's the deal, fellas. If anyone needs any more information, we have a website with the strength program. It's called TigerPowerStrength.com. You can check it out, and all the information's on that.
Pete, your hours Saturday mornings in the summer?
That is variable.
Okay.
Typically, I get there like at 9:30.
All right. So, guy, anybody who wants to sign on and get in on these Saturday morning lifts, just make sure you're in touch with Pete.
Yeah.
Via text about when he's
Like
going to be there.
Matt texts me all the time and asks me if
Yeah.
the weight room's open, and I'll get back to you guys pretty quickly.
And then
so
it'd be
I'm available.
$125 for the fall semester, and then $125 for the spring semester.
Yeah. So the way it basically works is you only pay for 2 semesters.
Right. When you're in season,
Right. You don't
it's
pay.
not charged.
Yeah. So take advantage of it, guys. It's here. The school offers it, and it's a pretty good opportunity.
One other thing, Pete, just
Yes.
to get your comment. So some of them will be coming in brand new and
Yes.
learning. Would it be beneficial even from the beginning for them to come in like with the buddy system?
Sure.
Or individually?
Yes.
What would be your
I
thoughts
think,
on that?
so what we would typically do is if I had, say, 8 guys would come in,
Yep.
we would teach them as a group. We teach 8 guys.
Okay. That's great.
We start by using PVC pipes.
Mhm.
And then we break it down into light bars, and then we break the exercises out. We find that these guys pick stuff up very quickly. Within 2 weeks, they're fully integrated and they know the deal.
And,
Any other questions?
just other things that come to mind, Pete, from things I didn't talk about. But when we get into the start of the baseball season now, in addition to maybe talking to Coach Fabry, Coach Scarlett, and Coach Marks and Fitz about how we might get you guys who have been weightlifting in the off season continue to go through the weight room because you can't just stop. I'd like to see more of an effort made, and I'll make a point of it when the season rolls around to see whether we can carve out some time for you guys to go in and work with Pete during your baseball seasons. The other thing I wanted to mention is that Matt DeLuca was supposed to go up to Cressy Sports Performance during his basketball season, and he couldn't do it because he had a conflict. Now, I've been on the phone with those guys up there, and what I'd really like to do is to take a group of our pitchers up there. You know, we could do it sometime in early August, sometime mid-August. If we've got vacations, we'll talk about maybe September. We could take more than one group up there. But for anybody who's a pitcher here, wants to think about doing something this offseason that could seriously make a difference in their performance, just have your father or mother send me an email expressing your interest in coming up with us. It's a 2-day event. We probably go up there on a Friday night, get you looked at, get you screened Friday night. Saturday, spend half of the day with their trainers going through your programming. You're going to spend a few hours with their pitching coordinators, who are like some of the best people in the industry. We could take some of our pitchers up there. Somebody could learn a slider. Somebody could learn a different curveball grip. You're going to get looked at by people who are trained to put the mechanics of the pitching motion in context with the strength piece, and put you guys in a position where, for example, a kid who was throwing 79 last August picked up 8 miles an hour on his fastball. That's doable. You can get 8 miles on your fastball in one off season if you train the right way. I've seen it happen, guys. And for some of you guys who are freshmen or sophomores, add it up. Add 7 or 8 miles one off season, add 5 or 6 or 7 miles an hour the next season, and do it in a healthy way. It's exciting. Who doesn't want to have a 90 mile an hour fastball by the time I get out of high school? It's fun. I can't say I ever experienced it, but one of you guys, or 2 of you guys, or 3 of you guys should, and I would like to be there to see it. So that's our pitch. If you have any questions for Tom or Pete or myself, Jim?
Paul, do you want to mention a couple of the current Major League players that are using Cressy?
Yeah, it's great. You go up to Cressy, and right in there is a framed jersey. Kluber, with a little inscription in Sharpie. Corey Kluber and Max Scherzer are the 2 reigning Cy Young Award winners. Those guys, they live up there in the offseason. You'll see
The guy from the Mets.
Syndergaard.
Syndergaard was training down there all.
Yep.
And one of the problems is that he can never stay healthy. And he finally said, I got to change the way I do things. So he went down to Florida. He trained with those guys for a year, and you know, made a significant difference. He's healthy. You know, the one thing that we find that these guys break. You know, baseball players break really easy. The game, because of the schedule, doesn't really provide for a lot of recovery time. Their rest, their nutrition on the road, all these things become an issue, and they break pretty easily. You see the programs in the major leagues that don't employ really good off-season programming and in-season programming, and their pitchers and their players are broken. It's beyond me why there are so many injuries in the game, but I think a lot of it is because of the prejudice against getting these guys properly coached and trained during their off-season months, and then obviously maintaining it during their in-season.
Corey Kluber and Max Scherzer, I don't think have spent too much time on the disabled list in their careers. And when I was on the phone with one of the 2 owners a couple weeks ago about talking our program up and fleshing out the basics of taking a group up there, Pete Dupuis, one of the co-owners, said to me, Corey Kluber has not missed a day of programming in 7 years. You know, and I don't expect any of you guys to have the tenacity, the resources, the discipline to train like Kluber right now. But you can do some of the stuff that these guys do at an early age. And it works, guys. It works. It's powerful stuff. Any other questions? Jeff?
I haven't been to the facility, so I don't really, never seen it, don't know
Okay.
anything about it. But so you said 4 p.m. to 7:30 is when it's open.
Yep.
Are guys just showing up whenever, or do they have to sign up? How
So
does that work?
all the athletes have to sign up, pre-register through the athletic department.
Okay.
And then, yes, they can show up.
Right. Just-
right.
I mean, it's not like
Yeah,
you're
so
scheduling a time. kind of
Depending, so for instance, I have the girls soccer team, they have a designated hour where I'm coaching those girls specifically. The football team, we have designated hours where we coach my football guys specifically. Basketball has 3 hours a week with their using the facility specifically. If that was something that the baseball program wanted to set up, then we would enable that to happen. But as we do not presently, these guys can then come in and train as they see fit. So if there were 3 or 4 guys who want to come in all together, that's fine. We're there. So the coaching staff is there, and we help these guys, through the workout.
So my other quick follow-up question to that is, never seen.
Sure.
If you have everybody going there, would there be a situation where somebody might go and not really be able to work out because you don't have enough space?
Have enough space?
Yeah.
I presently can do 45 kids at a time right now in the gym.
So you got enough space.
Yep. I have not. Well, so the facility, we have 9 power racks. Each rack is outfitted exactly the same. We have 2 full racks of dumbbells from 5 to 100. We have band setups on every rack. We have chain setups, and medicine balls, and the kind of whole host of plyometric boxes. And we have this really cool thing: you can go outside and do your sprint work and plyometric right on the field. So we're right at the stadium.
Yeah, right.
So
I know where it is.
gives us really good opportunity. So 45 is about my limit. And if the kids are pretty organized and understand the processes pretty well, yeah, we can get a lot of kids working at once.
This sprint workout that Pete just mentioned is another thing that's massively important to baseball players. I mean, the old teach with baseball used to be to have your pitchers run foul poles, and it doesn't work. It's outmoded, it's outdated. Pitching is it's a powerful movement that you have to execute upwards of, in a high school game, 110 times. It's not built by jogging poles, all right? You gotta sprint. You gotta sprint probably hard once a week, and Pete's your guy. Give you your sprint workout. If you can sprint fast and you can jump high, you can throw hard, all right? Principles of athletic movement. Any other questions?
So and again, if somebody signed up, they need to learn. We need to reach out to you and try to schedule that.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing.
So if I had a kid that came in and he was like, "Coach, I've never been in this room, in a weight room in my life," I would take him aside and we just get to work. We'll start showing him the exercises, showing him how the protocols work. We filter through the facility constantly. I'm correcting kids all the time. So I think our coaching style is very integrated with the kids, and we stay on top of it pretty closely. And I'm talking even kids who have been in the weight room for 3, 4. I have 35 alumni training with us still. Kids are coming back into the weight room, and they come in every evening at 6:30, and they want to be there. And we're still correcting those guys. When they go to college, they get ruined by their coaches there, and I got to fix them up again.
You got to clean up CeeLo's deadlift.
Right. Anyway, so
Yeah.
yes, so we make sure that we stay pretty comprehensive on top of the kids, make sure they're doing things correctly. The guys who've been in there in the past understand that we hold ourselves to pretty high standards.
I would say even if you're an athlete who was thinking about training off-site, it would still make sense to cycle through. Let Pete teach you the deadlift. I'll teach you the deadlift if you want to do it off-site. It's
Paul
a
can
great
teach you
lift.
the deadlift, and then I'll have to reteach it again.
Yeah.
Right.
Pete and I, like we're of the same mind, but we have our little differences too. But Pete's open-minded. When I say to Pete, I would love to see our baseball players front squatting more. Pete thinks
I'm
it's more
saying
of a
you're
flavor.
absolutely wrong, so that's okay.
He thinks it's a flavor of the week. I think it's the way to go. But I mean, the point is that we respect each other and we see the value of different things, and we'll try to get you in a heavy kettlebell doing some heavy front-loaded squats at home if Pete won't let you do them back out. So. Kev, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, just a note. So, for those of you who have not done this before in the weight room, administratively, the way to do the gig is you go online to the Ridgefield High School website, you print a form,
You don't even have to print it. It's all on Power School.
like that. So it's you know, you fill out that form that says weightlifting, and you I guess probably pay online now too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like that. So just administratively, that's how you get that done.
Any of you guys spent 3 days a week over the summer with Pete? I guarantee you, you're going to see a new you, and you're going to see it make a difference on the baseball field. It's the right kind of lifting. It's the right kind of stuff. He's not going to put you in the wrong direction. I've seen it. Anybody else? Thoughts?
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks for
Thank
coming,
you.
you guys.
Yes, thanks everyone for coming. We'll stay in touch through the Booster Club emails. We'll start sending blasts out with more information as it relates to this and a few other things baseball related as we go through, even though we're not in the spring season.